all the provinces. The issue of the NHI, Comrade Pierce of the ANC, we signed an NHI last year. It will be wrong, it is wrong for the president to say the Minister of Health must have an open space for business. Business have said it publicly that they are not going to support NHI. They went it public, they even said that they want to take it to court. That's what they said. Let me give you an example about the experience that I was in about this medical aid. Medical aid, I know they don't support NHI. You as public sector workers, you can give more experience about your medical aid called GEMS. When I was involved in an accident, the option medical aid area, hospitalization is unlimited. But in between, I was told the medical aid is depleted. Today I'm in court with medical aid mentioned because they also claimed a draft, but they were paid from my own contribution. They also claimed from the workmen's compensation. That's how corruption is happening in the medical aid. The medical aid don't care about your life, they care about their money. So we are saying, comrade, the NHI must be implemented as it is, and we're calling for president to allow the minister to process the implementation of NHI. Now, comrade, as I said that I'm not going to take much of your time. This meeting is convened to finalize the mobilization. You are left with 3 or 4 days for the action. Ne? The socio-economic challenges that we're facing in this country requires a united trade union movement. At NETLEC, we have 4 federations. We agreed that we're going to take this fight on the street, the 4 of us. Last week we had the General Secretary's meeting. None of those unions is ready, those federations is ready. They wanted us to shift, to postpone this action to February. We refused. There was Muslim populist. When they see the media, they speak everything, but on the ground they are not there. So as COSATU, with yourself, we've got to be on the ground, mobilize, pull out number of workers and the support from the ANC, the party and SANCO. We move with the demand of reducing the poverty that is faced by our people in this country. Demand the unemployment, demand for jobs, demand that cost of living is very high. We've spoken to the Reserve Bank. You saw the repo rate has been increased, has not been reduced. We're still going to have a meeting with the Reserve Bank Treasury next week about the tax in the two-pot system. The chair says you are not supposed, you don't know, if you don't know about the two-pot system, you must ask. Yes, I don't blame you, comrade, but I blame ourselves as leadership. I don't blame Steward. The leadership of trade unions were supposed to run a workshop to all of you so that as Steward you are able to respond when workers are asking questions about the two-pot system. Now, issues that we have raised about the tax, your leadership, COSATU and the Central Executive Committee, they are addressing that matter. Rest assured that in the next round, either there will be tax will be equal or they will be tax-free for the money that you are going to take. Because what we have realized, peers of party, is that these workers, they take 30,000. In 30,000, it's been taxed close to 6,000 to 7,000. The remaining money, what is that is going to do? There's nothing. We're also in discussion about removing the 2,000, start somewhere. 2,000 is nothing, comrade. You give me 2,000 rand now, just before I arrive in Brett is gone. So we are addressing those issues. The rest assured, comrade, the next round, even before the end of October, we will be coming back to you to give you a progress report in relation to those issues. So, comrade, with the socio-economic, as I spoke, the unemployment rate is very bad in South Africa. We have 42% unemployment rate. 42%. Whilst we're seated here, you find one worker supporting more than 3-4 families. Because of our culture, you have a responsibility to take responsible for other family members who are not working. And I'm very happy that the leadership of the ANC is here and is speaking with confidence to you. We are trusting that they are going to make sure that the unemployment rate in Polokwane or in Limpopo is reduced. Agri peers. It must be finished. There must be no unemployment. The municipalities must employ all the contract workers who have worked as contract workers for more than 3 years. Is there in the Labor Relations Act, comrade? Anybody who worked for more than 3 months as a labor broker or as a contract worker, the Labor Relations Act says that worker must be employed as permanent workers. Temporary educators, COSATU, if they are temporary educators in Limpopo, go to your MEC and say, we demand that these educators must be employed as permanent educators. Nurses, Nehawe, Dinoza, do that. Satau, communication workers, you know, the comrade from Sanko spoke about the security workers. Comrade, those workers are exploited. Some of the security companies, they belong to some of us. Go to this department where they are security and investigate who owns those security companies. No, you don't do your work as shop to it. In one province, security workers employed by government, the companies given tenders by government, security workers were not paid for 6 months. I went there, I called the premier, we said, I'm not leaving until these workers are paid. These security companies were saying, government IR Patela, government IR Patela. When the premier called them, and they called the HODs of those departments and MECs, you find that all of them, they were paid. So they then want to pay workers using government. And the premier says, you are all going to pay these workers within 2 hours. Within 3 hours, workers were paid. And I said to the premier, terminate all these contractors, employ new companies. But these workers, they don't go anywhere. And the premier did that. These workers were absorbed. So we're asking our province of Limpopo, led by one of us, the former president of COSATU, a former CEC member, a PEC member of the party, a PEC of the ANC, to practice what we've been preaching when she was in COSATU. No worker must suffer under her leadership. I've said that to others, comrades. I'm not saying only to her, but I've said that this thing to those who are coming from COSATU and they are given responsibility in the legislature. Bakhona abanye ke peers of the party, comrade, peers of the ANC. I'm a central committee of the party. In the workshop of the CC members, I asked the question, those who are deployed in government from COSATU and the ANC, and we're in government from COSATU and the party, when are you going to implement the policies of our own organization? I pendula two of them. I won't say their name. Till we're going to implement what the ANC says we must do. You know what this Madiba says? When Zuma formed this MK party, Mickey Mouse political party, he says, a leader who does not respect the principles of his organization, that is not a man that can lead the people of South Africa. If you move out from your own principle, it means from Madiba, you are not a man. He says about Zuma. Now, comrades, we have a challenge. We must protect our trade union movement. Lenin says, our activisms will determine our character. If we are not active on the ground, we are going to determine what a type of a trade union federation we are. So let's go out, comrades, unite, recruit service membership of COSATU. Maybe you can ask them, this leadership. When workers call, I don't need the permission of anybody. I go there. You can ask some. When the workers in KZN were dismissed, 2,300 workers in Tekwini municipality were dismissed just before election. I called Comrade Tembi, the former minister of Kokta. Let's go. Comrade Mtola, the peers of the ANC, was shouting publicly and saying all these things. We said, as if those workers, they were reinstated, all of them unconditionally. 2 weeks back, we were in court. The municipality was suing some 3.9 million, suing Shop toward 40,000 rand each. The court has dismissed the case in our favor. Now we're saying, comrade, we want to build a strong alliance, PSS of the party and the ANC. We want to build a strong alliance, but we will not be able to build a strong alliance when we are undermined. We will not be able to do that. So it is in our hands. It's in your hands. You want to save the breakthrough of the 1994. The reason why we're in GNU today is because of the outcome of the election. Workers, comrade, peers of the ANC, do not hate the ANC. They love the ANC, these workers. But the attitude of some leaders of the African National Congress has made where we are. I can tell you, PS, if it was not the arrogance of some of the leadership in KZN, we would have not lost the KZN. Comrade, the city manager shows me a WhatsApp message from one leader of the ANC, Utukuye Kocha. And indeed, that municipal man was a Kocha. So, the attitude of some of us as leaders changed the character of the ANC. The ANC that we know respect the rights of the workers. You have a right to picket, you have a right to demonstrate as per the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Three unions, they were formed by MK party. Firstly, it was a union in the sector of education against COSATU. The register rejected to register it because it was not complying in terms of the LRA. There was a union also that was trying to form for Pop Group in the police. They could not comply. They tried to form a federation called Kondewesis Federation of South Africa. How do you form a federation without affiliates? That shows that you don't have an understanding of the Labor Relations Act. You can't form a federation if you don't have affiliates. Federation is formed by affiliates. Comrade. Therefore, the EFF form a union. Yo, my Lord. In fact, if EFF board and they got a judgment from the labor court that you are not a union, you can't represent workers. The matter was in court. Now, what I'm trying to say to you, comrade, is that let's be watchdogs. As shop steward, service your members. If you don't have the skills, the chairperson, I think other comrade who spoke about the skills, we have got CCMA that have got the responsibility to train workers in terms of how to handle hearings. So, we really want you to stand up, comrade. This federation is relying on you. It's your own federation. It's not a federation that belongs to anybody, it belongs to you. If you want to collapse it, it's going to collapse. If the ANC, we want it to collapse, because we are members of the ANC, it's going to collapse. Comrade, the ANC will never do anything without workers. That's why we lose the trouble about what deceit. Yarumas, as you were saying, one step back. If time was allowed me, I was going to tell you about more in terms of what Lenin says about allowing the capitalists to take over. You take a back step, you allow them to take over so that you assess your Mitamoya how. What wrong have you done to be where we are? We did analysis of the election vis-a-vis the GNU in our joint working class leadership school 2 weeks ago. And we're reaffirming, Comrade PS, the reconfiguration of the alliance. We're reaffirming the National Democratic Revolution. Because without the reconfiguration of the alliance, without a National Democratic Revolution, we will not be able to take the next 5 years. If we don't correct our mistake now, not the ANC alone, including ourselves, come the next 5 years, comrade, is going to be a struggle. This DNU, especially DA, the enemy number one of the workers. That's why, comrade, we rejected the GNU publicly as COSATU and Communist Party. That the ANC can't go to bed with our enemy. DA is our enemy. The 2nd of May, DA marched to COSATU House and say, this is our enemy number one, COSATU. They were marching against the NHI, against the scrapping of the national minimum wage, against the employment equity. which was signed by the president. Tulas na was 10 years employment equity. Because wavumelana ne solidarity court kwenza lento bathi court outside court settlement. It's a sellout position that Tulas did as a former Minister of Labor. So that's the issue, comrade. GNU, their role is to destroy the ANC and the alliance. Look at what the Minister of Coctas is doing, comrade peers of the ANC. Remember, we've been raising issues about the non-payment of salaries of workers in the municipalities, including the issue around the deduction, the third-party claim. Now, this minister comes in, he put the proclamation to the president to investigate all these municipalities. And let me assure you, what he's going to get, he's going to use against the ANC. And TNA's workers were going to say, this is what we want. This is what we've been waiting for. Because we've been saying the ANC, do investigation why these municipalities are not able to get to pay workers their salaries. When they are getting what they call that thing, their equitable share. It can be. But also, comrade, those who are working in the municipalities, working in the supply chain, be ready. Because that minister is doing investigation of all the tenders. If you have put your hands in those things, you are in trouble. Because people are saying corruption can't happen. It's not being done by these politicians. These politicians, they instruct you as an official, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do it. That's why only some of them they get been cleaned. You can only get them when you go and hand somebody go and hand 50,000 or 50 million. That's when he's being arrested. But in terms of the supply chain, some of us as officials, we may find ourselves being implicated. So I'm asking you, move away from that thing, because we will not stop about issues of corruption. Now, I wanted to talk about how we characterized the GNU, but because of time, I'm not going to get into details how we characterize GNU. My focus is about issues of workers. The way it is in I don't know why it's because you've got a work to do. You have a work to do, comrade. You have a work to do. We know that unions are going to the congresses. SAT is from the Congress. SATAU is going to the Congress in December. Dinoza, you are going to the Congress next year. Next year. But we must conclude the provincial Congress, I'm sure, between now and next year. NUM is going to the Congress next year. That's why it's concluding their regional conferences. But as you do that, remember that you are not representing your pair of shoes. You are representing the interests of workers. For just a few things, comrades, on the characterization of GNU. What is our characterization of the current moment and the struggle ahead? For all indicators, as organized labor, as the working class, the coming 5 years, we are going to be years of intensifying the struggle that require the strengthening of our organizations. Building of a unity of all workers, as well as tactical alliance with the progressive force around the minimum program. Comrade PS and the party and the ANC. Build a minimum program. Nothing about us without us. That's what the Reconfiguration Alliance says. Nothing about us as workers without us. We need a joint program. That's what the Alliance Reconfiguration says. You take a decision together, you build program together. We were together in the election. It can't be corrected out when you discuss the issue of the GNU or forming a government, you isolate the alliance. It's true, comrade peers of the East, we're not consulted, we're briefed after a discussion. That's why we rejected the GNU. We're briefed. We had a view of a minority government. But unfortunately, the ANC, NEC, you were in the extended NEC peers. When I spoke there, comrades were saying, this general secretary, we are telling him. We tell the president, good let GNU yetu, and I again. Because the mandate of workers, the GNU is your GNU, ours is the alliance. We are not in alliance with the GNU, Tina. We're in alliance with the African National Congress. And that is why in the Reconfigured Alliance, we're talking about bringing back the political council, the Secretariat Alliance, the bilateral, the Alliance Summit, that must be able to talk about these issues going forward. So that we correct all these things, comrade. The ANC is still loved by people on the ground. But the mistake that we're doing as the ANC, I'm including myself, I'm a member of the ANC, is this arrogant approach. If you can correct that, it may not be in this province, but in other provinces. Yesterday I was addressing the Shopyard Council, Comrade Pierce. The leadership ANC, yes and Northwest, they don't attend meetings of COSATU. And you know what workers were saying yesterday? Don't invite them anymore. It's a wrong decision. That's why I said to them, you can take that decision, but I'm instructing the leadership, the PEC, go and meet with the PEC of the ANC and raise these issues. Because we are going to the local government election next year. You will expect in 2026, you will expect these workers to go and campaign for the ANC. If they don't go there, you are going to say, Kibatwa MK. Comrade, workers will never join MK. Those who join MK in KZN is by default and by force. That's why they are moving out. That political party, Mickey Mouse, is going to die. It's led by one person. He takes decision alone, that man. If Zuma gets to sick to hospital, that political party will be in hospital. So, we are saying, comrade, as I'm closing, build a strong COSATU, build the engines of COSATU. Political, educational, and ideological. Shop toward training, recruitment campaigns. We're moving again, we say, under this, as we build us moving out, comrade, we're in the GNU today. It's not going to be easy for us to move out. What we must do is to build strong organization, frustrate GNU, like we've started, SATU. Thank you very much for the decision. That minister must never address SATU in her life. Never. Never allowed her to come to any meetings. If there's a meeting convened in this province and she comes, walk out.
We chase it.
And if they take decision against you, you must mobilize COSATU, the ANC, the party, and Sanko, and march to the Department of Education against her. Don't be coward, comrade. This march that is come, we invited the Minister of Labor to come to the province to receive the memorandum here. We invited Steward because I wanted to tell him in his face about this racial discrimination, racial killing of women in what is that place there? Yeah, those women were killed and thrown into the pigsty. I don't know who told him, Ray, don't go there. That man is ready for you. He writes an email to me that is outside the country. I responded, I said, deploy somebody from your office. He will go and tell him, we have invited these GNU people who are ministers, Kokta in the other provinces. We want to tell them in their face about this GNU. But the Minister of Labor, she is coming particularly for the purpose of the issues of COSATU. The issues of the security workers, 4,000 companies of the security companies that are not paying the subscription in terms of the deduction on the UIF, compensation, and the pension fund. These workers, when the two-pot system was open, they went to apply, they wanted to apply, they were told that there's no money. Your company is not paid for 7 years. Can't be correct, comrade. And Department of Labor is still nursing those employers. We're saying building unity among workers, close the gap between affiliates in COSATU. That comrade was singing the song about solidarity forever. Identify joint campaigns with other federation. Comrade, with other federation, as now Maya Federation, they are populist. SAFTU, FEDUSA, NACTU. In fact, NACTU and I think their membership is less than 100,000 now. We're the biggest federation at NETLEC. So everything that is happening at NETLEC, COSATU must say something. Working together as organized labor to ensure proper funding and support for workers' education with Department of Higher Education, the CETA, the NSFAS. Section 77 is this campaign, comrade, is protected strike. Strengthening the reconfiguration of the alliance. Now this one I'm talking to the PS of the ANC and the party. COSATU and the SSCP forced the convening of the Alliance Secretariat and Political Council, built on a joint COSATU and SSC political school to political program and campaigns, build the Alliance platform to hold our deployees accountable. Now, more than stoutly again, holding accountable, even if Parliament, you released the again, you did not refuse. When the ANC says no, we're electing her, you didn't say no. Again, so you must hold her accountable. That's why she's here, to hear what is your problem. She knows that your problem is unemployment. She knows that your problem is that you are not getting a decent salary. You wonder if the Comrade Esther, if never know each province is called PSCPC negotiator as provinces, I'm sure you were going to motivate this provincial secretary. This one here, he comes from some. He comes from some. Salga was giving workers 3%. He calls me, said, GS, why do you allow 3%? I said, no, speak to the PS of the party in Free State, who's the president of Salga, Stofil. And later on, they got 6% increase. So, Comrade Esther, you have a responsibility, you and the former chairperson. I don't know who else is in the legislature. When they present these things, you must find a way to motivate. 3% for the public sector is not a salary, no complaint. 3%. When I was saying, okay, if they give you 3%, let's take the 3% from the president, all the ministers, and then we give it to the workers. Comrade, we will never be able to build a developmental state with a demoralized public sector workers. They are demoralized, these workers. When they're supposed to wake up to go and work, something comes into his mind or her mind. Build a powerful socialist movement of workers and the poor. Organize SACP, COSATU Union and Sanko engagement. Mobilize community struggle and campaign with the faith-based women. Issued base campaigns and programs to build unity within the alliance. build the Left Popular Front. This is what we have agreed at our National Congress in terms of the 2035 program, the midterm review of COSATU. Comrade, I want to wish you a very good, I can say you are a very good listeners. You have listened very well.